Hi everyone, and welcome to the mini tasting of the 4 cheeses featured in the Cheese Lady Cheese Club in September. So these are the 4 cheeses that we're going to try today. I hope you are all very excited, and I'd like to welcome back my co-host Hollie, who is really sure excited to try them as well. How are you feeling, Hollie?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Even though it's 9 in the morning, I'm looking forward to tasting some cheese.
Absolutely, always. That's what cheese lovers are like. So today we're gonna start with a soft cheese. As usual, we've got Elric Log, which is a soft goat's milk cheese from South Lanarkshire in Scotland. And it comes in a little log, you can see here on the board. On the outside, it's covered with vegetable ash, and of course it grows some mold on the rind and develops really a skin, which is edible, absolutely enjoyable and part of the experience. Also, a little note on the skin, with age, it can get a little bit punchier. It can even get a little bit sticky. So that's completely okay, but it depends on the age of the Elric log that you're enjoying. So it can be much drier, or it can be a little bit stickier and almost kind of smelly and funky. So inside we'll find snowy white texture. Is that how we would describe this?
Yeah.
I mean, under the skin we can see immediately there's
that lovely glossy gooey starting to break down, isn't it?
It's almost runny. It's almost like scoopable.
Yeah.
And then yes, inside we've got this more crumbly core. And again, going back to ripeness, the sign of ripeness of this cheese is the cream line. The more cream line it has, the riper it is. So I would say this one is kind of medium ripeness. It can ripen a bit longer, but it's definitely not a very young one.
Yeah.
Yeah, shall we smell it?
Yeah.
Herbaceous.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, from the rind, it's particularly herbaceous. It's just so fresh.
Fresh, yeah. It's almost like you're frolicking through the meadows. I don't know if it's just me. And also a light kind of nutty and cream note to it. I mean, there's loads going on. Absolutely amazing. It's not a strong aroma.
No.
Very elegant, but it's definitely there. Absolutely. And I should have mentioned it's made with raw milk. So this producer, Errington Cheese, they're very amazing. They believe in raw milk, and they are such just strong believers in that, and all of their cheeses are made with raw milk. And of course, if you are like us, raw milk cheeses do have that complexity, and not only of flavor, there's also microflora which goes into your system and does good things to your tummy and your overall health. So I think there's that extra benefit. Shall we maybe start trying that?
Yes,
and see
I'm wondering
that's
how the most elegant way to try this.
There is not going to be an elegant way. Let's try
give it a go.
Well, first impressions. The texture is just so moussey.
I know, I was going to say, I love the contrast in textures between the interior and that gooey bit and the rind. It's like 3 experiences in one. It's delicious.
I call that a cheese in 3 acts.
Yeah.
So there is the rind, the cream line, and the core inside. Yeah, the first thing that struck me the most, and I've tried this cheese before, of course, but every time it's a little bit of a different experience. I think the moussiness of the texture was just absolutely amazing inside. And the first taste impression was zingy. Did you get that as well? It's very, very zingy.
Yeah, there's that classic kind of goaty, citrusy zing to it.
Yeah. Youthful. But of course, there's then layers of flavor, and the herbaceous note that I mentioned on the nose, I think, comes through as well. Absolutely amazing.
What I like is the paste, or the interior is like, it's quite soft. It's not chalky in any way. Like some goat's cheeses can be a bit firmer.
It can be like pronounced crumbly. Yeah, this is a lot smoother. Much smoother.
Yeah,
I'm going back for seconds, by the way.
So does the ash rind give it particular flavor, or is that more just decorative?
The ash, I think, really plays more of a functional role. And to a degree it's decorative as well, because once the cheese is made, they need to start changing the acidity on the outside of the cheese to grow the rind. So that's where the ash comes in. And we were very lucky to visit this producer a couple of months ago. Hollie was with us. We went as a team. And it was absolutely amazing because Angela, the cheesemaker, showed us around, and we did learn quite a lot specifically about Elric log, because she took us through rooms where Elric log matures. So it's not one room, it just sits in.
There was a whole corridor of different rooms that moved from one to the next to the next. Was there a hastening room to begin with, and then
we can't remember all the names. I mean, there is so much detail, but essentially in every room the atmosphere would change. They would change the temperature, they would change the humidity to achieve certain things during the maturation of this cheese, the ripening of this cheese. So it was absolutely fascinating. And one room they would have more airflow and less humidity, and then they would need more humidity and less airflow, and the temperature would change. And when we were going through these rooms, you could just see the rind developing, the texture kind of changing.
They're all at different stages. I just remember the molds, because obviously the molds need to be quite a distinctive shape to make these. It's quite different to some of the others.
Some of them were kind of fuzzy and fluffy, and that was amazing. So what do we think about enjoying it with some wine?
Something crisp and fresh and classic citrusy notes, like a Sauvignon Blanc or something's coming to mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Love that idea. I mean, since it's still summer, that's completely, Indian summer, I should say, still completely appropriate. I would also probably go as far as a rosé. Rosé would be nice.
Yeah, I like rosé. Yeah.
Amazing cheese. We hope you enjoyed it at home. So let's move on to our second one. We're changing gears, we are changing milks, and the texture is going to get quite a bit firmer here. So this cheese, I'm actually going to show you the wheel. So this is sheep rustler, and I find its rind completely fascinating.
Yes, multicolored, isn't it? It's
so multicolored.
Yeah.
They do wash this cheese during the cheese making, so hence a little bit of an orangey undertone to the rind. And then on the outside, it also grows this fantastic yellow mold, which is really well acclaimed, I suppose, mold in the cheese world. Yeah, it's a really great one. Sheep's milk. Sheep rustler is from Somerset in England. And like I'm saying, texture-wise,
it's fairly semi-firm or firm. What would you categorize?
I would say it's going on firm. Less semi-firm.
Interesting contrast in color, or gradient of color. From the rind, it's a little darker and getting a little lighter to the center, isn't it?
Definitely, and it has small eyes as well. So these little openings, we call them eyes, call them holes, but they're there. But what else can we say? I think if you look from the side, you can see a little bit of glossiness to the texture. And of course, because it's sheep's milk, it's very rich. So that gives it a little bit of gloss. Shall we smell it? A completely different aroma.
Yeah, the rind's quite more distinctive than...
stronger.
Middle,
Overall, it's got the sweetness inside and outside.
When you snap it to get the full
snap it.
Smell effect, and I got the sweet note straight away.
Caramelly, shall we say? I have to say it's one of my absolute favorite cheeses. Always go back to it and always discover something new. Caramelly, nutty, I think is kind of predominant notes for me. And when we come to taste it as well.
The sweetness is there.
Sheep's milk. But it's funny how sheep's milk is a little bit different to sweetness to like Alpine cheeses. There's this type of sweetness that comes from, I find, like boiled potatoes. Starchy kind of sweetness, almost.
Yeah, it's a different sweetness.
Absolutely delicious cheese. It's actually made with thermized milk, I believe, and vegetarian rennet, so veggie friendly. Very versatile. You can have it on the cheese board, you can cook with it. And if people are not too sure about having sheep's milk cheeses, I think it's a good starting point. It doesn't have that maybe bite as some Italian pecorino would have. Yeah, absolutely amazing.
it's
So
lovely.
what kind of wine can we have at with?
Would it work with either red or white? You're edging more towards red, perhaps. Something lighter, though.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you could try it with white, but personally, I find it often working more with red. But like Hollie is saying, not too heavy.
Yeah.
Because the flavor is quite elegant. It's not too strong. It's not punchy. It's not sharp or anything like that.
Yeah, you don't overpower.
So, Pinot Noir, Gamay, Beaujolais, things like that. Or maybe if you wanted to compromise and you still have that bottle of rosé open,
that would work.
that I think would work as well. So Wonderful Cheese. I actually also had the pleasure of visiting this producer, and they're amazing. They have
It's White Lake cheese, is it?
White Lake cheese. Yes, they're in Somerset. They do have their own goats, but like I say, this cheese is a sheep's milk. They don't have their own sheep, so the sheep's milk is bought in.
Okay.
So therefore, this cheese is artisan, whereas their goat's milk cheeses are farmhouse because milk never leaves the farm.
Sure.
But yeah, they are amazing because they make so many different cheeses. Normally, artisan producers would make 1, 3, 5 cheeses. They make about 30. And they work like a military operation. So on their walls, there's like charts and things that make no sense to an outsider, but for them, it's just like makes all the sense, and they know what cheeses to put where. There's again rooms and rooms that we went through, and so cheeses bathing in like salty brines, and cheeses maturing, and cheeses being made. So yeah, that was fascinating. Amazing. So hope you enjoyed this one. Let's now move to another country, shall we?
Yes, let's.
Yeah. One of very loved cheeses here, the Cheese Lady, slightly an off the beaten track one, but actually it's closely related to a slightly more famous Swiss cheese called Appenzeller. Yeah. This cheese, however, let's start by addressing its name. Because a lot of people trip over the name and maybe stop from ordering it, but it's actually not that bad. The cheese is called Hollie. I mean, I don't speak any German, but I'm told on good authority that's how you pronounce that. And it translates to sitting in the cellar.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing it's not this little person that's pictured on top of the cheese.
This is one of my favorite cheeses for simply the label alone.
Yeah.
It's kind of, it's slightly creepy.
For lack of a better term, yes,
Yeah.
I completely agree. But I think what the name refers to is the cheese sitting in the cellar.
Not the boy sitting in the cellar.
Not the little person sitting in the cellar. But yeah, Hollie is how we pronounce it here. I'm told on good authority that's correct. So what is this cheese? An Alpine, obviously from Switzerland. Cow's milk, traditional rennet, so in the best Swiss Alpine tradition. Matured for a minimum of 10 months. So that's actually more mature than the most mature Appenzeller.
Of course, yeah, because that's 9 months, isn't it?
9 months. Yeah. So, but interestingly, this producer used to make Appenzeller. I don't know if they still do, but that's where they started.
Right.
And then they developed this cheese in 2003. I think because with Appenzeller, there's so many rules and regulations, it can be a little bit too strict and stifling for producers. But yes, they created this cheese and it's become really, really popular. But it has this similarity and I suppose a relation to Appenzeller.
Yeah, I heard it is a different breed of cow that they use for this, a Jersey cow rather than a brown Swiss or something.
I can't confirm that because by the looks of it, I don't know if it's Jersey. I think there's maybe a percentage of Jersey cow's milk, but don't quote me on that. Potentially.
Lovely colour to it.
Amazing color. So if we compare it to our sheep rustler, we see like different shades of, this is more maybe hay hue, whereas this has a touch of lemon almost, interestingly. And of course, if we contrast it with our Elric log, I mean, the color difference is so noticeable. This is white. Cow's milk does have beta carotene, so that will have more of a golden or yellow hue. So have we smelled it? Let's have a smell.
Sorry, I skipped ahead a step.
That's okay.
It's not a farmyardy smell. Well, obviously it's kind of been in a cellar maturing, but there's
this farmyardy note to it because this cheese is washed during the beginning stages of its maturation. So yeah, there's a little bit of funkiness to the rind. Absolutely, but it's not too smelly. It's not like a washed rind cheese like a poisse where it's fully punchy. Yeah. And the paste, again, we're gonna say nutty, but it's a different sweetness.
It's fruity.
Fruity.
Nutty. There's that sweetness there, as you said.
I think there's like layers and layers of cheese, of flavor in this cheese. And every time I try it, I do discover something new again. It's just so fascinating.
I'm getting a real tang to this one in a way that I don't normally.
Yeah. It kind of envelops your whole palate in flavor, and you kind of discover different things in different parts of your mouth.
Yeah, that's the definition of a complex cheese, right?
Yeah.
You're just discovering all these different layers to it.
And once it's gone, I can still taste it. So yeah, that's a definition and kind of a sign of a good cheese. Yeah, lingering, complex, absolutely stunning. And I mean, whatever you taste at home when you taste this cheese is absolutely right, because your palate is obviously different to ours. Amazing. A very complex cheese, like Hollie says, so would require a nice complex wine. Which color would you like?
I always just gravitate towards white, but I would want something with a little more body to it.
Yeah.
If I was having a white with that, maybe an oaky Chardonnay or something. Or
love that idea. California Chardonnay could be a good starting point. If you're more of a red wine lover, I wouldn't go as light as a Pinot Noir. That would be just probably overwhelmed. So think of medium bodied. And actually maybe even something lightly sweetened like a ripasso wouldn't be
something slightly off
a
dry.
bad idea.
Yeah. Okay.
So the sweetness would complement the sweetness that the cheese has. Yeah, absolutely. I see that working. And now on to our final cheese. So for this one, we are going to Ireland. And we're going to try blue cheese called Cashel Blue. So this one is made with cow's milk and vegetarian rennet, another veggie friendly. And we can tell just by looking at it that's cow's milk. It has this touch of gold. Yeah. Creamy, goldy kind of color.
Yeah.
And the paste is quite compact. I'm sure you'd agree.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it does have some kind of eyes or openings, but mostly it's very compact.
Yeah.
So this cheese has been in existence since mid-80s, I would say. So I know the company was started in the early 80s by Jane Grubb, and now it's run by her family, her daughter and her husband. And now they carry on this tradition of making Cashel Blue, and they've added some other cheeses to their range as well. But this was the first cheese that Jane invented in the 80s. And I think it's absolutely amazing. It's our core stock here at the Cheese Lady. I always love to have this cheese because it's just so beautiful. Aroma wise, what did you think?
There's a herbaceousness. There's a slightly vegetal smell to it that I'm getting.
Nice one. I think it almost smells like fresh milk. I don't know if you've ever smelled milk in the churn or something like that. Once it's been just milk. I had that experience when I was little because where I come from, my granny used to have a cow and she would milk every day, and I had that smell. It was amazing. So I think it reminds me of that fresh milk. But also there's a little bit of kind of farmyardy aroma, if you will, because of course this cheese is matured in the cellar, and I think the key to get in this lovely creamy texture that we're going to discover now is that they matured in a slightly cooler part of their cellar where the cheese just develops this nice dense cream texture. So let's have a try.
It's so creamy. Not crumbly. Your alternative is something a bit more crumbly, but this is so creamy. I would say it's a mild blue. It's not overpowering.
Absolutely. It's a great introductory blue. So if somebody doesn't like strong blue cheeses, this is definitely one to start with. It doesn't have that strong bite. So, but like Hollie says, the texture, the cream is just absolutely amazing. We've got a new friend here, and she doesn't want to go away. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the cheeses. When it comes to enjoying the last cheese here on the board with wine, I think maybe if you stick with this ripasso style, that would work very nicely. As we know, blue cheeses work well with dessert wines, but because it's on the milder side, maybe we don't want to go too sweet. Also, what about beer? I think that would be a nice... Yeah, maybe something again with the sweetness, like an ale or stout. Could work. So yeah, have an experiment and try, see what you like the best. Do you have any favorites on the board?
My favorite today? Oh, goodness me.
Tricky question.
They're all favorites in their own categories.
Absolutely.
But if you force me to pick one,
it's like picking your favorite child. Go do it.
The Hollyhocker.
Hollyhocker.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, you're not gonna ask me that question because I don't have an answer. Because like you say, they're all great in their own category. I love this blue. I love this Albine. I love the Elric Log and the Chypre. I think they're all just stars. A star lineup.
Star lineup, as ever.
Yeah, absolutely. So let us know what was your favorite on the board, if you had one, or did you love them all? Please let us know. We're very curious to know. And of course, if you have any suggestions for future tastings, please do let us know as well. And if you're not yet subscribed to our channel, please do support us by subscribing. And we look forward to seeing you next time.